Now, Damien, you used the word manifesting in terms of invoking angels and archangels, that they can help you in manifesting. And in the book, Angels and Archangels, you talk about how your focus is 90% of your work with angels and archangels relates to spiritual sustenance and 10% for sort of material manifesting. And you don't make any excuses that, material manifesting is somehow lesser or, should be looked down upon. You're like right there, when you need things, go for it. But now here's what I want to ask you about that. You talk about how when it comes to manifesting, it's important to have the view when you're working with angels and archangels that your prayers have already been answered. You're very clear about that. It's really important to have that perspective. And I want to address that person who says, I don't know how to do that because I just don't. If I believed my prayers were already answered, I wouldn't be sitting here praying like this. The reason that I'm praying to this angel or archangel is because I don't believe my prayers have been answered. So how do we work with that honestly? And what about that person who's been listening to our conversation and is having the response? I was with you all. This was such a interesting and important spiritual conversation about crossing the abyss and the disintegration of the separate ego. But when you get to like manifesting the stuff you want, really, Tammy, like really, that's what this is about. I'm gonna use Raphael, a messenger of God, so that I can, get a new whatever the heck it might be. What will you say to that person who has that response?
Okay, let me explain it this way. Going back to what we were talking about a while ago about the quantum field, we exist within a quantum field sort of like fish who live in an aquarium or in a lake full of water. They're taking it in and interacting with it at all times, even though they're probably completely unaware of it because they've been immersed in it since the day they were born. That's the same way that we are with the quantum field. But we communicate with this quantum field through electromagnetic impulses or electromagnetic fields that are generated by the human body. Now, the two main organs which generate these electromagnetic fields are the brain and the heart. The one generated by the heart is massive amounts more powerful than the one generated by the brain. This is why, like in ancient Egypt, whenever they were carrying out the embalming process, a lot of times they would discard the brain, look at it as trash, but they took, such tremendous pain and care to make sure that the heart was well preserved. It's because the heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field of any other organ in the body. So, in the Bible, for example, whenever they were putting the Bible together, Emperor Constantine left out 40 to 45 books of the Bible when he was putting together what he wanted it to say. One of those books was the Gospel of Thomas. And in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus tells people how to manifest things. He says, whenever you ask for something in prayer, believe it is so, and it will be. What he's trying to explain to people, what he's trying to say is, for a second, whenever you're trying to manifest something, just take a couple of minutes and think about how you would feel if it had already come to pass. So let's say whatever it is you're wanting to manifest, if it's something that you would feel happy whenever it happens, then just as long as you can maintain it, think about it as if it were already done and try to allow yourself to feel the way you would feel if it had already manifested. If you would be happy, try to, for that moment, allow yourself to feel happy. If you would be relieved, try for a moment to just let yourself feel the sense of relief that you would feel if whatever you're trying to change had been changed. Whatever it is, whatever emotional feeling you would feel at the end of that process, try to feel that for a second. Whenever you do that, you are changing the electromagnetic field that's generated by your heart and causing it to interact with the quantum field in a different way. You are basically telling the quantum field what you want to manifest. It does not respond to wants, to needs, or any of that. It responds to these orders these fields, this energy, and the visualizations that go along with them. Usually the first thing I point out is that all things work together for the glory of God. Not some of them, not most of them, not a few of them, all things. What this means is that the physical world that we inhabit is every bit as divine, holy, and sacred as anything that we would normally think of and apply that title to. So when you're trying to keep spirit and body together, it's hard to focus on a spiritual practice. It's hard to focus on a magic practice if you're going to bed hungry at night, or you've got sick people in your family that you're having to take care of, or you don't have enough space in your house. Whatever it is, a lot of times we need things in the physical world before we can properly devote and dedicate ourselves to making progress, in a spiritual way. But the other thing, the reason that I talk about a 90-10 rule, there is absolutely nothing wrong with anything in the physical world. It's not degenerate, it's not sick, it's not sinful, it's not evil. It's just another aspect of reality created by the same intelligence that created all other things. But the thing about the 90-10 rule that I found also is I always say, focus 90% on spiritual sustenance, on things like attaining the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, or crossing the abyss, or, whatever it is that is part of the spiritual path. What I have found, the reason I say focus 90% on that is because normally if you do, you will find that your whole life starts to click into place and run in a way that it never has before. So you will need to do less and less magic to manifest something, because your life is automatically, naturally falling into place, and you're doing your will in the world. You're doing what you were put here for. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you find as you go along, the more you do this for spiritual reasons, the less you have to do it for practical manifestation purposes. But there is nothing wrong whatsoever with the fact that you have a need in your life that you're trying to meet.
Okay,